Well, hello and welcome again. Welcome to another episode of the Raheen Ashimi Show. I'm your host, Raheen Ashimi. Hope you all are having a great and a fantastic day. I have an honor, a treat for each and every one of you all that's listening today. I have a guest that I talk all the time about pickleball, and I try to explain it the best way that I can. I have someone on here that can do it a thousand times better than I ever can. He's given us the opportunity to speak to him today. And so I want to take this opportunity right now. If you all have a moment, share this broadcast. Please share this broadcast. I talk so much about pickleball. Y'all know I play it all the time. Just love the game. I just love that game. And Mr. Brian has come here today and he's going to explain to us exactly what pickleball is. I'm kind of clumsy when I explain it sometimes, and everybody asks me all these questions. Raheem, what is pickleball? What is pickleball? I try to send videos to you all and try to introduce in that way, but I have one better for you today. So let me get this gentleman on with us. There he is. There he is. Brian, good morning, sir. Good morning. I'm thinking about the morning. Good morning. No, good afternoon, sir. How are you doing today?
I'm doing great. Thanks for having me. Appreciate the overly kind intro there.
Hey, thank you for giving us the opportunity to talk to us today, man. You know this game that's called pickleball. I love it, and I know you love it. It's just so addictive. The game, my wife and I, we started playing it, maybe about a month or so ago, and we want to play it. We want to play it, and we can't get enough of it. What is pickleball?
So, as you point out, pickleball is highly addictive. I've met a lot of people over the last about 4 years that I've been playing, and I haven't met a single one yet who's tried this game and has said, "Yeah, it's really not for me." People really love the game. So, in short, it's a fun mix of tennis, badminton, and table tennis. Takes aspects of each of those three sports and kind of blends them into one, and really just provides a platform that gives people with any background at all in paddle sports to do very well. And even new players can really learn the game in a very short time. Lots of sports like tennis that we get compared to often can take a really long time to get to a level of proficiency where you can have fun. But pickleball, I can get somebody out on the court, and in a matter of an hour, they can be having a good time. There's still a lot to learn, but they'll be enjoying themselves. Um,
Exactly.
yeah.
I'm sorry. No, no. Go ahead. Go ahead.
I think another fun analogy that I've heard people use to say what is pickleball is to say it's like playing ping pong while standing on the table. So it's a much smaller court
Mhm.
than tennis. You're up close to the net. You're up close to your opponents, and it's a good time.
Okay. My wife and I was playing. We play a lot at Rose Jordan Park. Before I do that, I'm jumping
Yeah,
so ahead of myself. Introduce yourself, sir, and tell us a little bit about you.
sure. So my name is Brian Garrett. I live in Gwinnett County here in Georgia, and I stumbled into pickleball while I was on vacation with my family about 4 years ago. We were up in the mountains of Tennessee at a little kind of a partial retirement, like 55 plus community, but also timeshare. And my mother had some time at this timeshare, and we figured we'd get out, enjoy basically hiking around, doing stuff, outdoors in Tennessee. And unfortunately, it rained every day we were there. Really kind of spoiled those plans.
Mhm.
Um, and I had two young kids. My sister was there with her young kid. And I said, we've got to get out of this little condo, or we're just going to kill each other being boxed up in here. We got to get out.
Mhm.
So I started looking around for activities, and I saw that the community center was offering pickleball lessons.
Wow.
I didn't know anything about it, but I said, it's inside and it involves a ball. We're going to learn something.
Yes. Yes.
So I quickly did some Googling before we went over there the next morning, but didn't really know what to expect. Um, I think my first time experience is fairly common with folks, and that is you show up to a place and there's a lot of 55 plus folks there. It is
Yes.
very, very common amongst that that age group. I look forward to being that age group and spending more time playing pickleball than I do now.
Exactly.
Um, but just the friendliest people that could have been. And they took the time with me and the young kids to teach us how to play this game. And we went back the next morning and played again, and then got home and started looking for a place to play. And the rest, as they say, is history. So now I'm playing multiple times a week and teaching clinics and leading tournaments and completely addicted.
You you said something completely addictive, and that's where my wife and I is right now. We just love the game, and we go when we go play. We play at different places, but most of the time we play at Rose Jordan Park.
Okay.
Um, there are people I see individuals playing pickleball from young, real young. I've seen as much as 80 something years old, and they're out there playing pickleball and playing it very well. Playing it very well. And so the range of what who it pulls together and the ages that come together and really appreciate this game. What is the one thing that surprised you most about pickleball?
I would say the community. It's
Hmm.
one of the
Yes.
things that I love most about the sport, and
Hmm.
it's something that I didn't know to expect that I was going to really love about it. I think, um, having been involved in a couple other sports over the years, um, I just never really found the home, I would say,
Hmm.
that I
Hmm.
find in the pickleball community. Um, I enjoyed doing the sport with the people, but it was kind of left it there. I don't know. I feel like in the pickleball world, I really enjoy spending time with these people. It is, I won't say it's as much social for me, although for many people, I think it is as much about the social outlet as the sporting outlet.
Hmm.
Um, there are certainly groups of people who get together Monday to Friday and they play for 3 hours, 9 to
Yes.
noon, Monday to Friday, and it's their social outlet as well as their exercise outlet.
Okay.
Um, yeah,
Let's talk a little bit about the sport itself. And I obviously I've been playing pickleball longer. I know the answers to these questions, but I'm actually asking the questions for our listening audience.
for sure.
Um, the scoring system, is it a like, is it like a tennis love 15, 30, 45 game? How does the scoring system? Because that was one of the toughest parts for my wife and I to grab onto, especially playing doubles. How does the scoring work?
Yeah, so we typically play games to 11, win by two, and you only score when you're serving.
Hmm.
Um, I'm speaking now of what people would today refer to as traditional scoring. There are some advocates for rally scoring that you may have seen in some other sports. Volleyball, I know, has adopted that, and there are some pickleball events that use this other rally scoring. But let's forget that because you won't run into it at your local park for the most part. So you only serve. I'm sorry, you only score when you serve,
Hmm.
and in tennis, the server gets two tries at each point, right?
Hmm.
They can hit it in the net and then they can serve a second time. Here you don't get a second per person, you just get a second per team. So if I was to start serving for my team, when we lose a rally, it would then transition to my partner and they would get to serve as we win points until we lose a rally. Then there would be a side out and the other
Hmm.
team would have the opportunity to earn points. So it gives an opportunity to get stuck sometimes, which is why rally scoring has a little bit of a push. In that case, somebody earns a point every rally.
Hmm.
So pickleball gives you a chance to earn some points, but then when the other person has the serve and is trying to earn points, you have the ability to stop them from doing that.
Hmm.
So
Now let's talk a little bit about the serve, because the serve is different itself. The way that the ball is served, because a lot of times when people think of pickleball, they tie it in with tennis, the big throw up in the air and swing at the ball real hard and hit it as fast and as hard as you can. What is the differences in pickleball serving and tennis serving?
So the serve is one of the elements that the founders of this game brilliantly decided needed to not be the most aggressive, uh, points winning element of the game.
Hmm.
Um, I have to admit, I'm not a huge fan of tennis, but I watch some of these tennis matches, and so many of the points are won or lost on the serve. People just literally can't return the serve well. So they get either hit it in the net, hit it out, or they pop it up and somebody runs up, serve and volleys it right back at them. And the point's over in, maybe 2 shots.
Mm-hmm.
And I actually watched some video that another player shared with me. They were transitioning into pickleball and shared with me a video of their recent Alta tennis match. And the first thing that I noticed was how many points were short. So I started tallying that. And then I shared with them video from one of my recent tournaments, and I tallied the same thing, number of shots per rally. And in his match, what we found was over half of the points were 2 shots or less.
Mm-hmm.
It was the serve and maybe didn't come back, went in the net, whatever. Whereas in pickleball, nearly every point is more than 2 shots because the serve is not allowed to be weaponized. Mm-hmm. So I'm gonna back up to your original question. So I tell you about the serve. In pickleball, we have to serve underhanded instead of overhanded like we do in tennis. Mm-hmm. And because of that, you can't hit the ball nearly as hard because you're serving from basically at net height. So you can't hit down on it like you do tennis, where you jump up in the air and you can really send that ball down. Mm-hmm. So we definitely have to serve underhanded. We also have to be in an upward motion, or upward arc of the paddle. So you can't swing down on it. You can't even do a pure side swing like some people might like to do to emulate a ground stroke. So moving upwards, and also below the navel, below the waist, which they define as being at the navel. So again, it's about keeping the ball low and basically getting the ball into play so that we can then play out the point and not have the point be over just on the serve.
Absolutely. Now, explain to me terminologies. There's certain terminologies in pickleball, and one of them is the kitchen. Stay out of the kitchen. What exactly does stay out of the kitchen? What does that mean?
Yeah, so the kitchen is sort of the common term for this area, but in the rules we call it the non-volley zone. Mm-hmm. And this is an area that goes 7 feet on either side of the net, where you're allowed to be there. You just can't volley the ball while you're standing there, meaning take the ball out of the air before it bounces. Mm-hmm. So if you're at all standing on the line or inside that non-volley zone, you have to wait for the ball to bounce before you can hit it. Mm-hmm. So most of the game is won and lost standing a few inches on either side of that non-volley zone, and basically trying to hit the ball in such a way that it's not attackable by your opponents. And then somebody will make a mistake, pop the ball up a little bit, and boom, it's game on. And now it becomes this very fast volley game. And it's that transition between a slower pace of the game and a faster game that I would say is another one of my favorite things about the sport. It's, in tennis, because of the long distances, especially in singles, people tend to stay at the baseline, and it's whack. Mm-hmm. And it's a couple seconds, whack, whack, back and forth. Yes. In pickleball, you're only 14 feet from each other, and less than that because you've got your arms out in front of you. So you can take another couple feet off that distance, and it's just pop, 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 pop. Yes. And then somebody will slow it down, and it gets into a rhythm again, and then it'll go fast. Yes. So much fun.
And that's the part that I call me crazy, but that's the part that I like, because there is a game that people say, well, is it fast? What's the speed of it? It depends on the point. It really depends on the point and who you're playing and how aggressive you are and the person that you're playing is, because it can get real fast, real quick, and pop, pop, like you said, pop, 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 and before you know it, if you blink, you lost the point. You've lost the point because you have to really pay attention to what it is. 2 bounce rule. What explain to us, because this is something that I took a couple of friends of ours out, and they couldn't grasp the 2 bounce rule. What exactly does that mean?
So tied in with the concept that we want to make the game about playing out the point and not just about getting into the point with the serve and return. So in the 2-bounce rule, the first bounce is that the serve has to bounce inside the appropriate service box.
Mm-hmm.
Just like tennis, we serve cross court. The difference, though, is that in tennis, the service box goes from the net out to a line. And in pickleball, the service box goes from that non-volley zone or kitchen line to the back line. So in pickleball, you have to serve deep in the box, whereas in tennis, you have to serve short in the box. But that'll be the first bounce. And then the second bounce means when the receiving team returns the ball, as it comes back to the service team, we have to let it bounce again. So that's the 2 bounces. So now the ball is in play. In theory, at this point, it's not a super attackable ball because that return should be relatively deep. That deep return is going to give the receiving team time to get up to the net, hopefully. And now they're at an advantage, that receiving team, because both players are standing up close to the net. And because we had to wait for it to bounce, both serving players are pretty deep in the court. So now we have to earn our way up to that non-volley zone line by hitting good shots.
Well, now get my camera on here. Okay. Another thing that I learned not too long ago, and I hadn't been playing a long time, but as in tennis, if you hit it and it falls out, and I maybe will comes in my description of this, but if you hit it and it falls out, it doesn't count. But in pickleball, I've learned that if I serve it, if it hit the net and if it falls outside of the kitchen, it's still a playable ball. Is that correct?
So in tennis, they have a rule that they call a let. So if the
Yes.
ball hits the net and lands in the appropriate box, it is replayed. You call a let and you play it over again. In pickleball, we used to have lets, but about 2 years ago, we decided to get rid of that.
Oh.
So now, no matter what happens, if the ball clips the net or not, as long as it lands in the appropriate service box, we play it out. And I think that's been a good rule change for us. The idea behind it was to eliminate cheating. I never saw that as a thing. Apparently, there were some instances of it where someone would have a difficult time returning a ball and they would say, oh, that was a let, it clipped the net. And it really hadn't. They just weren't able to get to it. So to eliminate that possibility, we just said, as long as it lands in the service box, it's good. And it has not been a problem. People really feared that, a ball could hit the net cord, and land very short in the service box and be difficult for the person to run up and get. It happens occasionally, very occasionally, but not enough to worry about, I don't think so. So we do not have a let in pickleball.
Okay. Now, let me ask you, for the people that are listening, and I know there's a lot of people, and I appreciate you because you're really explaining this thing perfectly. For the person or the people that's listening right now that want to get started in pickleball, is it very expensive to get started?
It's not expensive. So first, lots of facilities that you can go to will have equipment available to you at no charge. So, for example, in Gwinnett County, the Parks and Recs departments, if you go play at the gym facilities, there's no charge to use the paddles that they have available there. If you decide to buy your own paddle at some point, you can get reasonable options from, say, $30 to ridiculous numbers. But you don't have to spend a lot on a paddle to get started. I would say that because I see so many people try the game and really love it, I try to caution people to, when you buy your first paddle, at least buy one that is legal to play in tournaments with. You're not thinking about playing tournaments when you're out there for the first month, but you don't want to have to go around and buy a new paddle later just because the one you bought happens not to be tournament legal. And I won't belabor the point there, but one of the primary reasons that a paddle is not tournament legal is that the surface is not an even roughness. So that's one of the primary rules for a paddle, is the surface must have an even roughness across the whole face. And on some of the cheaper paddles, they will screen print the logos on them. And so you can
Hmm.
actually feel, as you run your finger across the paddle, you'll feel the difference in where the paint is. It's not enough to affect playability for 99% of players. So I don't have a problem with someone purchasing a paddle like that. Maybe you want to buy a couple extra paddles because you like to introduce new people to them, and you want to buy a paddle that you don't mind getting beaten up, and that's fair too.
Yes,
Um,
exactly.
yeah.
Okay.
But you can get a tournament legal paddle starting at about $60, and you're
Hmm.
you're good to go.
Okay. Now, when I was telling somebody that we was actually doing this interview today, they asked me a question, and it's funny as it is. It was funny to me, but they asked me the question, "Why does the ball have holes in it?" And I, I kind of looked at them. I couldn't answer that question. So, why does the ball have holes in it? And there are different variations of the indoor, outdoor balls. There's a lot of different balls that people don't understand. It's very complicated. It's not just a simple just pick up a ball and go play. Is you have an indoor ball, outdoor ball, and different textures and different things of that idea. What do you say to that?
Yeah, so most sports have a much more heavily regulated ball than we do.
Hmm.
In tennis, you can buy a bunch of different brands, but the balls are all the same. Table tennis, I think there's some very minor variations there, but the balls is pretty similar. In pickleball, we use a ball that's just slightly larger than a tennis ball. It's about three
Hmm.
inches, and you can see there's a whole bunch. This is an outdoor ball, and there are 40 holes. That's prescribed by the rules. 40 holes in an outdoor pickleball. The indoor balls have fewer holes that are larger. And the purpose of the holes is twofold. One, it helps reduce weight so the ball doesn't get too heavy. And
Hmm.
two, as this ball spins, having these holes allows you to get um, more spin on the ball, more motion of the ball
Hmm.
as it spins. So top spin will cause it to drop, back spin will cause it to float straight a little longer. You can even put side spin on it and make the ball curve a little bit. And the holes assist with that, make you have a greater motion with the amount of spin than if the ball was smooth.
Hmm. Now, you just said something. I wasn't going to go into this area with this particular interview right now, but you put it out there, so I want to ask the question: how does one learn how to do the top spin, the back spin? Is it the same motion that you were using in tennis? Is it different? What is the strokes like to make that happen?
It is effectively the same motion. So
Mhm.
to impart top spin, you're going to want to have a stroke path that goes from low to high. So you're brushing up on the back of the ball. And that's going to cause the ball, if we're going this way, top
Mhm.
spin is going to have the top of the ball going towards your opponent.
Mhm.
And that's going to cause the ball to dip down at some point. And then when it hits, because of that spin, it will want to jump a little bit on the other
Mhm.
side. So it'll take that rotational energy and it'll will cause it to bounce a little bit higher and maybe even accelerate a bit when it hits the ground. Whereas backspin is the opposite. You're going to start with a high to low swing path.
Mhm.
It's going to spin backwards as it moves forward. So now when it hits the ground, it's going to skid and it's going
Mhm.
to lose some of that energy. It's going to slow down. It's going to
Mhm.
stay low.
Wow.
Um, and then side spin, of course, is you gotta kind of hook it a little bit
Mhm.
to get it to go side to side.
Good, good. Now you're giving us a lot of information today. And certainly I don't expect everybody to absorb everything just from this one conversation that we're having. Do you supply courses? Do you teach classes? And how could someone be a part of your classes if they are available?
So I don't do much in the way of teaching at this point, honestly. There are some coaches in the area. I don't actually uh, endorse any one particular
Hmm.
person. I'm happy to try to give out some names, but if you look at the Duluth City Parks and Rec, they have some classes that they offer at Bunton Road Park.
Hmm.
There's a coach that teaches at Mountain Park in, I guess that's Snellville, Lilburn area
Hmm.
at Mountain Park. Um, there's a new facility opening up in Buford. It's called Pickle and Social. It's going to be similar to a Top Golf kind of model where
Wow.
it'll have the sport, but also a bar and restaurant and that kind of thing. and they're going to offer lessons there as well. They should be
Okay.
opening up in the fall sometime.
Would you recommend a person joining a league? And if I'm not mistaken, you have a league as well.
We do run a league. I think what's
Mhm.
a little different currently in pickleball than tennis is the league that we offer is really designed for people who already have some of the basic skills of the
Mhm.
game and are looking to improve their game. They're looking,
Mhm.
I shouldn't say it that way, are looking to be competitive with people at their level.
Okay.
But it's not really a learning experience.
Mhm.
What I hear from people as they reach out as new players, it sounds like tennis may have some leagues that really are just about finding other people that are beginners to play with.
Mhm.
And so the cool thing about pickleball is you don't need a league to get started like that. So
Yes.
we have this type of event that we refer to as open play, and
Mhm.
it is absolutely core to the ethos of pickleball. Okay,
Mhm.
we love our open play.
Yes.
I certainly love to go play with a small group of friends every now and again, but we
Mhm.
love to just go to the park and play with whoever's there.
Yes.
And so we have a good bit of that in Gwinnett County. If you go to gwinnettpickleball.org and you look up
Mhm.
on the menus there, there's a regular activities tab. So all these will be listed for you. But E. Robinson on Tuesday nights, Rhodes Jordan on Tuesday nights.
Mhm.
Rhodes Jordan has a group on Sunday mornings. Bay Creek Park has Saturday mornings and I think Tuesday and Thursday nights.
Mhm.
Mountain Park has Saturday morning. All of those are open, so anyone of any skill level can come. So you
Wow.
don't need to join a league
Mhm.
in order to get time with other people. You just go to open play, you meet some new friends, and then maybe you set up a time where you find a few people that are at your level
Mhm.
and you want to get in more games with that group of people. So you set up another time, you reserve a court, and you go do your thing. But open play is a great way to meet new people, to
Yes.
play with people who are better than you initially, but
Mhm.
also as you grow to play with the newer players.
Yes.
Because I like to go and just meet new people, welcome them into the community, but also to share little bits of knowledge with them.
Mhm.
Um, no, nobody necessarily wants to show up to the court and have somebody tell them all the things they're doing wrong.
Yes. Right.
Um, but you do learn a lot by watching people who do it right.
Mhm.
So as you're sitting awaiting your turn and you're watching the more advanced players, you go,
Mhm.
huh, after he serves, or after he returns, rather, he's moving up to that kitchen line. He's not hanging
Mhm.
out in the back like I am. I wonder why he's doing that. And
Mhm.
then you just chat up with people and you help me understand why you're doing what you're doing there.
And I'm gonna
So,
tell you one of the things that I love about my wife, and I truth of the matter, I love playing with people that's newer than I am, and teaching them the game, and bringing them along as well. My wife, she's man, she's just that's she's in education, so that's just a part of
okay.
her. But she just loved teaching and teaching and teaching and we played against somebody, and she turned it into every point into a teachable moment. I'm trying to win. I want I want to, but I love that about her, man, and so many people, especially Rose Jordan. We've done it with a couple of people that when they came out, they was new. We talked to them, taught them the stuff that we know, and we certainly don't know everything, but we taught them the things that we know, and we helped them along, and they always come back to us. And so
Yeah.
that's the beautiful thing about the community, the pickleball community, man. It's so loving. It really is, man. I it's hard to find something like that. It really is. What do you say to that, sir?
It is absolutely unique in my personal experience anyway. Um,
Mhm.
the way that people get together for pickleball and they'll have somebody's birthday coming up and they'll bring a buffet of food out
Mhm.
and hang out after playing for a while and celebrate birthdays and
Exactly.
um, you know I've got pickleball friends from the morning crew at EE. They'll end up
Mhm.
going to shows together,
Mhm.
hanging out together outside of the courts. um, it's definitely is a different community. I think we are competitive with each other, but supportive of each other. So much like you said
Absolutely.
about your wife, I'm sure she's also trying to win, but she's trying to help that new player
Yes.
learn how to give her some better competition too.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. what we say we was gonna be here for 30 minutes, and it's right is we have 3 minutes left. So I'm giving you the floor. Anything that you want to say to anybody that's listening, if you want to give some contact information, how they can get in contact with you. This is your opportunity. Please do so.
Awesome. I appreciate that. Yeah. So GwinnettPickleball.org hopefully is a good resource for you. I try to have a lot of information there to help out, but all my contact information is there as well. Happy to answer emails are probably easiest, but happy to text message or whatever else is helpful. And then just get out and try it. The barrier to entry is so low in this sport. Something like golf or tennis, people take lessons for years before they get good enough to have fun. In pickleball, you can have fun right away. So go out to a park, check it out. If you don't even have a paddle, just show up and tell people that you're interested. Somebody will probably loan you a paddle,
Yes.
and let you get out there and get started. That's what happened with my first lesson.
Mhm.
But definitely, if you go to one of the parks where the equipment is provided, it's an easy way. Then you don't even have to ask to borrow anything.
Absolutely.
So
And I want to thank you, sir. I know you're a very busy man and that you took the time to talk to us and educate my audience on pickleball much better than I could have ever done it. I want to thank you for giving us this opportunity. I hope that you enjoyed it half as much as I did. I definitely enjoyed the conversation that we had today, and hopefully we'll be talking some other time. And I get you out there. As long as you don't pickle me, don't you pickle me. We didn't tell them.
all right.
Don't. No, as
Well,
long as you don't pickle me, we're good. We're
all
good.
right. I
Thank you
definitely
very.
had a great time. I always love to share pickleball with new people. So look forward to engaging with you on the court, not
Yes, sir.
just off the court sometime soon.
Thank you. Look forward to it. Well, thank you all for joining us. I definitely appreciate each and every one of you for tuning in. I hope that I can see you or we can see you on a pickleball court somewhere very soon. Enjoy the game. And once you get into it, I guarantee you're going to love the game as much as we do. It's a great game. It's a great opportunity for people to come together and just have real, real fun.
Yep.
Real fun. It's a great game. I love it. And I hope and I pray that you do as well. Have a great day. Take care of each other and share some love.